control the vertigo.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery suspense anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthology. We host Mark. Today we cover something a little unusual. This is, it's called various things, but this is the Edgar Wallace Mysteries, is one title for it. It was a series of B-movies, sort of mostly film noir, but thrillers, British made, meant to be B-movies, second on a bill movies, with most of them are kind of Brit noir. Now, one's particular group, I believe it was the Independent Artists and the Film Producers Guild, managed to acquire the film rights of all of Edgar Wallace's books and stories in 1960, and they went on to start making movies. It was quite a detailed plan. They were planning 50-odd films, actually, and in the end, I think there were 46 or 47 in this set, based on the works of Edgar Wallace, a very famous thriller writer. Probably more famous today than for being the guy that wrote the screenplay for King Kong, for example. But this was these series of films were then kind of shown on TV. In the late 60s in Britain, they were shown under the title Tales of Edgar Wallace. Then they were then shown on American TV. Called the Edgar Wallace Mystery Theatre, slightly edited down to fit an hour's time slot with commercials, so they were slightly shorter. And in all, I have a box set of these. There are 47 in that box set, though I think one of them, and in fact the first one, the one I'm going to talk about tonight, which is the first one on the list, wasn't actually officially part of that, but became amalgamated in the TV release. An interesting set of films. They run, I would guess, from 60 to 70 minutes, maybe a little longer now and again. And black and white, almost all of them are black and white, I understand. And they're kind of thrillers, right? And they've got a very strong reputation. So I thought I'd give it a go. And I watched the first one, and I wasn't disappointed. The first one of this series is... because of the sort of lack of information, I cannot say when they were first broadcast. 1968 is the best I can do for TV. That's about it in terms of information. But the first feature I want to cut, the first one story on the list is called Urge to Kill. Now this one is kind of interesting. It takes some memes we've seen in other places. It was based on a novel from 1942 called Huey Ruddiss, and also a play called Hand in Glove. Basically, a young woman is killed in a sort of dark part of town in a sort of sadistic way. It's not really glossed over. This is not sensationalist. This is a fairly downbeat, straightforward British drama, and that kind of adds to its charm. Suspicions fall on a man who has learning difficulties called Huey, who is a little strange. He collects things, he wanders around town at all hours and collects bits. The thing is, things like he collects broken glass and one of the women's attacked with broken glass. That's the kind of issues involved. And he's got no memory of what he's done, it appears. So it's kind of a bit worrying. The man playing this character is very good. And he lives in a lodging house which is run by his aunt, who tries to look after him. And there's a selection of boarders. of all sorts. One of the boarders, for example, turns out to be Wilfrid Brambell, who is famous for playing the old man Steptoe in Steptoe and Son. He does quite a good job here. He's very clean cut and well spoken. We also get one other famous British character actress, sort of performer, who's in a lot of comedy. She's often a stooge in comedy shows and things like that, called Rita Webb. Famous in Britain for people of a certain age. The rest of the cast I don't really know. They did a solid job though, and I quite liked it. And I like the fact the man in charge of the investigation, the policeman in charge, is actually quite kind to Huey, and he doesn't really believe he's responsible. He doesn't think he's capable. But these murders continue. So it's a serial killer film, in essence, and we slowly reveal who's doing this and not why, but the fact they're doing it. 59 minutes this ran out, and it was pretty solid and entertaining, and I will continue to watch these, I think. I rather enjoyed this. It is showing, I believe this is showing in the UK now on the channel Talking Pictures TV. So you can catch films within this series. It's quite distinct. I can't think of any other collection of movies that were repackaged and then released as a TV show. It's just not done, is it? I think this might be the only one. There's probably others, but I can't think of any others that use this approach. I like the twists, I like the turns. I don't really want to reveal them, but you can kind of see them coming. But I kind of like how the policeman handles it, and I like the non-sensationalist nature of this drama. It's a good solid thriller with good performances. The clean film looks good. The version I've seen looks very good. It is of a ratio of the screen from that time, not widescreen, for example. But it's not quite 4:3. It's not quite TV either. It's a little wider than that. It looked. So yeah, there was a lot going on here, and I quite liked it. And the performances were quite slightly low key, and I think it worked better because of that. Now the reviews at the time says it declares it not very subtle, but I guess compared to movies in the last 20 or 30 years, it is pretty damn subtle, I have to say. And there's there's a little comic relief, but not much, enough to sort of break the tension a little in a good way. But I quite liked it. It wasn't quite kitchen sink drama as well. It was just British drama of the time, and because it was so short, it did not drag it out. It didn't feel slow. It was a properly tense ending. I quite liked it. We've seen this trope in other things, haven't we? A man with learning difficulties sort of being blamed for things or doing those things. For example, this kind of thing was done in Straw Dogs 12 years after this. You can kind of say Lenny from Of Mice and Men sort of has that vibe too. But yeah, this was very solid. As I say, Urge to Kill. The Edgar Wallace mysteries seem to be a fairly good set, and as I say, I am looking forward to watching these. So I think I will wind it up there. Before I go, may I ask, is anybody out there?
I'm not.
We now return control of your television set to you until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to